It's a madhouse. We're ruled over by lunatics. Caitlin Johnstone is one of the dauntless few, and also I got a video to prove that we live in a madhouse. Shout out to also Colorado's Congressional District 7, because first and foremost, I think it's only fair that we do bring this up here and at least share it with the people, because we are in a dystopia. Things ain't looking cash money.
We are trapped in a dystopia that is ruled by lunatics. Notes from the edge of the narrative matrix. We really need a name for the mental illness that comes with obscene amounts of wealth. Elon Musk's bizarre progeny obsession, all the weird shit Michael Jackson did, the stories you hear about rich families making their servants clean their toilets after every use or throw away plates after every meal. Call it rich brain or something.
You think you think that's a joke? No, that's actually very, very real. I had a friend one time tell me that they have a very rich relative who didn't do laundry, like didn't even wash his drawers, okay? He just went to the store and bought new ones. Listen, some of these rich people, one time, my senior year in high school, we went to a friend's place, like a lot of us, and they lived in a very well-to-do neighborhood on the north side of Chicago. And the house they lived in was absolutely breathtaking. Okay, like it was like a palace. We walk inside there, and it's like a crazed hoarder was living in there. I'm talking about newspapers packed up to the ceiling, dating back at least one. I looked at the title of one of them, the date going back to 1982. I wasn't even born yet. I was born in 85. I mean, I'm talking about a place that looked like something from a horror movie, like where you see a person trying to run away from a serial killer. Just throwing it out there. It's very real.
Psychological phenomenon where extreme wealth causes people to lose their mental moorings and spin off into deep space because there's no one in their lives telling them no or holding them to any standards of normal human behavior. When their ability to shape their day-to-day lives however they want with no limitations lets them fly off into uncharted psychological territory where they'll have whole teams of people orchestrating elaborate scenes and projects to accommodate their debilitating neuroses. We need a good label for this phenomenon because these are the individuals who are shaping our world. Many people suffering from psychological disorders will come up with unhealthy ideas for how society ought to be run, but they don't have the means to turn their vision into a reality. The people who are made insane by obscene amounts of wealth are not restricted in this way. Their mental illnesses can actually directly influence how human civilization plays out on this planet. As billionaires take more and more control over our world, we are finding ourselves increasingly led by those least qualified to lead us. We are trapped in a dystopia that is ruled by lunatics. We should probably do something about that. They are ripping kids in half right in front of us and telling us we need to be mad at Kneecap and Miss Rachel. A Palestine supporter witnesses new footage every day of children being mutilated, shredded, and burned to death by Israel. An Israel supporter spends every day avoiding looking at that same footage. This one fact tells you very clearly who is on the wrong side of history here. When you witness an injustice, you can either oppose it, look away, or make up some reason why the injustice is okay. Only the first option can lead to the cessation of the injustice. Ignoring the Gaza Holocaust looks different from justifying it, but both yield the same result. There are people opposing the genocide, and there are people justifying it. But the largest group by far are those standing in the middle and shrugging. These people may tell themselves that they are morally superior to the ones actively cheerleading a mass atrocity, and at first glance this may appear to be the case. But in practice, both are choosing an option that allows the mass atrocity to continue. One is just more photogenic than the other. It allows a certain type of person to feel nice about themselves while still facilitating an act of genocide. This is almost everyone with the loudest and most influential voices in our society today, by the way. The celebrities, the people with the largest platforms. Most of them are not actively supporting the Gaza Holocaust. They're just sitting there watching it happen, like a psychopath sitting back watching a toddler drown to death in a swimming pool. They know something terrible is happening, but they know they'll pay a professional price if they oppose it. So they avail themselves of all the many distractions afforded to the wealthy and keep their attention fixed on the insignificant. And the result, in the end, is that this nightmare continues, day after day, month after month, year after year.
How many times have we seen these politicians work for their corporate overlords? How many times have we seen these politicians listen to the people that give them money? Look, we all have ideas how society should be. Some of them reasonable, others, oh my God, what's wrong with you? But these billionaires, as we have learned, thanks to Citizens United and the McCutcheon decision, where money is speech and corporations are people, we have learned through trial and error, of course, that because we have unchecked corruption, because we have unchecked money buying our republic, these billionaires have the final say. They get to decide about the tax cuts, regulations on Wall Street and the big banks. And in turn, all the legislation's written in their favor. And our politicians, who should be the keen-eyed eagles, the lions at the gate, the watchdogs who protect us, are more than happy to play the game with their corporate donors. Because these same corporate donors allow these people, these politicians, to know about what's going on so they can have a taste of all the figgy pudding. I mean, look, hey, you don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe me, but I do encourage everyone, you know what time it is for Unusual Whales. Unusual Whales. Who is Unusual Whales? Well, I always bring this up because it's important to everyone to see, but look, this was from last year. Our congressional leaders in the United States Senate and House of Representatives, every year since 2020, some U.S. politicians beat the market. From the start of 2024 to the year end, many had unusual trades and huge portfolio gains. And look, you got Debbie Wasserman Schultz, you got Nancy Pelosi, you got Susan Collins. You got, who else you got here? You got row your boat, Ro Khanna. You got MTG, you know me. You got all these politicians, all these senators. You got all these people, Democrat and Republican, making it big in the red. Oh, sorry, not making it big in the red, but making it big in the green. Sorry about that. Making it big in the green for all the money.
Because too many people, when faced with history's first live-streamed genocide, have chosen to do nothing. It would be a mistake to view the Chinese people's skyrocketing quality of life as miraculous or extraordinary. Beijing made some very clever decisions over the years, but ultimately it's just doing the normal thing, spending the nation's wealth on the public instead of on war. When capitalism simps want to shit on China, they'll call it communist. When they want to dismiss its accomplishments, they say it only happened because China became capitalist. When you ask why your country can't do what China is doing in order to share those same accomplishments, they circle back around to, no, that's communism again. And meanwhile, the war in Ukraine rages on, for no reason other than the fact that under our psychotic status quo, it is much easier to start a war than to end one. The risk of nuclear war is far lower than it was in the early months of the conflict, but Ukrainian lives are still being thrown into a proxy war to no one's benefit but the war profiteers. NATO's never going to directly enter the war, and without a massive escalation on that level, it's inevitable that this thing ends with a peace deal where Ukraine has to give up a fair amount of land. At this point, it's just a bunch of men killing each other and blowing each other's limbs off for no good reason while they wait for that conclusion to arrive, because a bunch of corrupt bureaucrats far away from the fighting keep postponing it. It's so ugly and so stupid. Such a pointless, idiotic thing for all this suffering and dying to be happening for. This whole nightmare could have been avoided with a little diplomacy and a few low-cost concessions from the US empire. But they decided to provoke a war to move a few pieces around on the grand chessboard for the advancement of their goal of planetary domination instead. The world is ruled by sociopaths. I keep meaning to mention that watching or listening to Dave DeCamp's half-hour show for anti-war news every day is the easiest way to cultivate a lucid understanding of what's going on in the world. Just put it on over breakfast or on your way to work or whatever, and you'll always have an understanding of what the empire is up to from day to day. Other good resources include antiwar.com, Breakthrough News, Consortium News, Dropsite News and its quality Twitter account, World Socialist website, Electronic Intifada, Mint Press News, The Gray Zone, The Cradle, Moon of Alabama, and Responsible Statecraft. And for those of you who are listening to this article, if you go to the Substack version, the written version, there are a bunch of links that you can click to take you to these resources. Bye.
It's beyond sad. But also, I mean, again, we are witnessing what's happening in Gaza. We are witnessing what's happening across the world. I think we've all seen plenty of movies and books. And yes, I got to reference this again. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but we have seen, and all of us have maybe at one point or another heard a conversation about, oh, if I was alive during World War II or during the Civil War era, especially during the Civil War era, I would have been part of the Underground Railroad. You've heard people talk like that and help free the slaves and be part of that resistance. Or you've heard people say, oh, if I was alive in World War II in Europe, they'd stand against the Nazis and help hide those who were being persecuted by the Third Reich. No, you wouldn't. If you ever hear somebody talking like that, you could confront them, but just think in your head, just say, no, you're play acting. We're seeing a genocide take place before us, a crisis take place before us. We're all still going to work, getting our morning cup of coffee, filling up our car, going ahead and doing our daily trials and tribulations, facing against the good and the bad. While real evil is happening, wars are happening, not just only in Gaza. I mean, there's wars happening all over this place. There's corruption happening all over the place. There's madness happening. And the world goes on. I want to give a huge shout out to Colorado District 7. They played this. They sent me this video because I think it's important for us to see. It's not only just presidents and prime ministers and kings and, executive, chiefs of staff that are also sociopathic and dismissive people, but it's even the lower tier, the senators and the House representatives, the members of parliament.
Bare minimum. One big question. One big question. As we continue to see martial fire like this.
What do you mean, thank you for being here, Senator? It's amazing how you can ignore what's right in front of you, the same as you ignore what's going on the other side of the planet with your bombs.
You're aiding a genocide.
Your ability to ignore blood is unrivaled.
You can't ignore us. We know you're running for governor.
I want to say things are going to get better, but we have an unjust and unfair system. I want there to be a better future, but it requires action from the people to step up. It requires people to go outside their comfort zone and do the right thing. And more importantly, do not be afraid. I know things might seem grim, but this is a process that happens. And if people just decide to accept it for what it is, it will only get worse. We have to speak out. We have to be bold. And change starts with us taking the step forward.